congratulations to Ilker, who won the AARP Aging in Place Challenge last week with HITLAB and the AgeTech Collaborative. Ilker is the co-founder and CTO of Pons, and I'm excited to chat with you today, Ilker.
I'm happy to be here, Callie. Thanks for everyone in HITLAB for inviting me.
Wonderful. Well, shall we get started?
Sure.
Great. Well, my first question for you is, what inspired your company's development of Pons, and how does it address the challenge of democratizing and decentralizing medical imaging in healthcare?
Yeah, that's a great question. And during my presentation, I gave one example. One of the reasons was because we lost our dad at the age of 65 due to a heart attack, and that could have been prevented if he was monitored more frequently. And again, this is just one example out of many. I had friends who were basically lost their lives due to late diagnosis. And again, so that's one of the things that we would like to basically provide as Pons, more frequent monitoring, and more specifically outside hospital settings. Because anything like early stage disease, people don't know they have the disease and they're not really monitored frequently enough. So that was one of the reasons we started Pons, basically providing a technology that is accessible, affordable, and high quality as well. So just making it accessible and affordable, but not sufficient enough to identify early stage diseases won't really help anyone. So you need to be able to basically identify early stage disease at its earliest stage, which it can be managed at that point. So that's what we're trying to achieve at Pons. And again, it's just basically from our personal experience, from the discussions we had with our clinical collaborators, this was missing. Like the data that is on early stage disease is not collected inside the hospital settings, because we do our regular checkups and we have the data on healthy people. And then sometimes people go to the hospital with a pain in their body, and then they are diagnosed with late stage disease. And at that point, it becomes very challenging to manage the disease. So we wanted to basically bridge the gap between hospital data and the data that lies outside hospital settings. And Pons in Latin means bridge. So that kind of worked out pretty good for us.
Got it. I was wondering about the origin of the name, and sorry to hear about the passing of your father. We see, in particularly within AgeTech, a lot of founders have these really stories that are close to the heart for why they're founding these businesses, and they really provide impact because they're, based on a personal challenge or experience that most of these founders went through. And early prevention is key to making sure we live healthy for longer. So this is such an incredible tool that you're building.
Thank you.
My next question for you is, can you share how winning the AARP Aging in Place Challenge has influenced your company's vision and approach to integrating Pons into aging in place solutions?
Again, we are very happy we won. I mean, and the other companies were fantastic as well. When I was listening to the pitches, I was like, oh my God, everybody is doing amazing stuff. So we were very happy that we won the challenge. And then again, this is basically opening more doors for Pons, because we want to reach a lot of audiences, like people who need this kind of technologies that can be monitored either at home or at a local pharmacy where they can walk in. So I think winning this challenge will open us a lot of doors in that, and especially for aging population, right? These people, basically, most of them, I've provided statistics in my pitch as well, like more than 70% of aging population, they would like to provide they're comfort in their home. They want the technologies to be basically delivered to them, or a nurse or a caregiver go to their basically home setting and then collect the data. So that's what we are aiming to achieve at Pons. And the other thing we are very excited is basically, so there's aging population living in city centers, but there's also aging population living in rural areas, right? So there's basically, we call them basically there's healthcare deserts. Like there's a lot of basically healthcare professionals who are leaving those areas, and there's not enough healthcare professionals who can provide these services. So with our technology, we're hoping that with our integrated AI data collection, everyone can collect data. You don't have to go to this extensive training of ultrasound data collection, which is very challenging. And again, so we want to basically provide high quality, as I said, high quality medical imaging data to aging populations, basically monitor them for heart disease or stroke or musculoskeletal disease such as osteoarthritis. So we are very happy we won the challenge. We would love to basically moving forward work very closely with aging tech, and then really basically reach all these aging people who would love to, I'm sure would love to use our technology.
Yeah, thanks for diving into that. And AARP research shows that people really do want to age in place. They want to stay at home for as long as possible. I feel like that combined with the unfortunate healthcare staffing shortages that we're seeing, this is such a nicely timed product to be developing and bringing to the masses. So great. Along that line of bringing healthcare into the home, how has your company shifted from traditional medical staff as users to empowering patients as users of Pons for preventative medical imaging? And what benefits do you think this shift provides?
Yeah, that's again, like when we started the company, as I mentioned, one of the goals was like collect data outside the hospital settings, but you cannot really you already have like staff shortages inside the hospital settings, like basically overloaded with different crowding of the hospital. So we were basically thinking, well, okay, so we want to bring this technology outside the hospital settings. We cannot really send a nurse to every home. That will be too much. Or training and data collecting using ultrasound is very challenging because it's a manual data collection process. So that basically in itself brings a lot of challenges. So we wanted to basically, how can we overcome this challenge? So we know there's a lot of good uses for AI. We know the self-driverless cars research is happening outside in different by different companies. So we wanted to provide something similar. So we built this AI, which we call it the GPS of ultrasound. So any kind of like untrained healthcare professionals, such as nurses, caregivers, or pharmacists, can collect clinically acceptable data. So that's the good part of our technology. So the data that you're collecting has to be clinically acceptable. So because everything the data collected is sent back to the hospital, so the providers can stay in contact with their patients. So if you're collecting bad quality data, that you cannot really do anything to begin with. So we're showing that the data we're collecting is clinically acceptable. And if you want to reach the masses, so you need to empower basically, a daughter of an aging person, right? So they can go and then use our technology and collect data from their parents, or a nurse who's visiting basically an elderly care person at their homes, or if they're residing in a care facility, they can collect data at those locations as well. Basically, to do that, again, as I said, so you need to provide the technology that can allow them to use ultrasound, and that's what we're trying to do with Pons. And that's the way you can reach into mass market, like brings technologies outside the hospital settings, empowering either users, their families, or caregivers or nurses who are part of hospital home services or part of basically different initiatives that just basically provide them technology, make it easy to use. So that the adaptation will be high as well. If you make a technology, anytime you develop a new technology, if it's very challenging, difficult to use, if you have to press different buttons everywhere, if it's going to take an hour, 2 hours to collect data, that won't be adaptable. Especially if you bring it outside the hospital settings, providing these technologies to novice users. If I have to learn something like a new technology or a new phone that is developed and sent to me, if it takes to me like 2 hours to learn every time I use it, it's not going to be like adaptable, right? So make it easy to use for the users, and then also it has to be high quality data as well. So that's one of the basically advantages we have. Ultrasound is very bad if you want to image early stage disease data. We have a patented technology that for the first time allows early stage diseases to be visible and collected.
Great insights. Okay, so easy to use and fast data. Okay, well, I think we have time for one last question here. So you mentioned your AI and the technology that you're implementing. So I was hoping you could elaborate on how Pons utilizes the AI-driven cognitive functions and smart image processing to autonomously assess health risks and report findings to healthcare providers.
Yeah, thank you again for this question. So this is basically, we want people to understand, like, as I mentioned, ultrasound is very challenging. But we built an AI platform. Basically, if somebody, let's say a local pharmacy in Jersey City or New York City area uses our technology, a pharmacy located in rural area who uses that technology as well, the AI that is running these two platforms ends up communicating with each other. So the user in the rural area, the AI learns from that user, and then the AI, our platform, our GPS technology, learns from a user who's basically using our technology in the city center. So, and this is like a continual learning process in AI technology. So as humans, we learn throughout our life, right? So we go somewhere, we learn, and then we adapt it when we are happy with it. So we developed an AI technology that functions in a similar fashion for navigation aspect. But then once you collect the data, as I mentioned, if you cannot show an early stage disease, you cannot really do anything with that data. So we have a patented image enhancement technology for the first time improves the quality of ultrasound data and makes invisible tissue changes visible. And the second advantage of that technology is we multiply the data set size. So from one image, we can generate 15 to 20 different images. And then this helps you. What you can do with this data is you can develop improved tissue characterization AI methods that will help basically drive pharmaceutical companies to do for drug development, or if you for research hospitals to improve their basically care that they're providing to the patients. So those are all the technologies that we're doing: data collection, smart data collection, intelligence, image enhancement, as well as tissue characterization. And then with combining this package and then the early stage disease data that we're collecting, we are hoping that basically the chronic diseases can be managed better using our platform.
Fantastic. That's amazing. Incredible work that you're doing.
Thank you so much. This is fantastic. Great questions, and I'm very happy to be here again.